Hi everyone, Radhe Radhe. In this video, we're going to be doing chapter 6, verse 34. And I was curious in the last verse because Arjun started speaking and he asked Krishna. He basically said that this is too difficult. Controlling the mind is very difficult. It seems impossible. It seems impractical. The mind is unsteady and whatever. So I was wondering whether Bhagwan Shri Krishna will answer already or in this next verse, but he's actually not answering. Arjun is expanding on his question. So let's sing this verse together and see what Arjun is asking further, what Arjun is saying to Bhagwan Shri Krishna and making life easier for us because Krishna is going to give us a simpler path after this. Okay, so let's sing the verse together. चञ्चलं हि मनः कृष्ण प्रमाथि बलवदृढं तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वायोरेव सुदुष्करम्. Okay, so the translation is, the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Ha! So true, right? So true. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's do the word by word. Chanchalam, flickering. Chanchal is it's restless, but it's got a sweet connotation in Hindi as well. But yeah, it's basically restless. He certainly manaha mind. So I've gotten an understanding of the word mind. Okay, let me finish the translation and then I'll explain that. O Krishna, Chanchalam hi manaha Krishna, Pramathi bala vadridham. Pramathi agitating, it's agitated. It is balavat, bala. Bala is a strong. Dridham, obstinate. It's like dridh, it's like strong. Tasya, it's aham, I. Nigraham, subduing. So, O Krishna, the mind is flickering, it's restless, it's agitated, it's strong, it's obstinate. Turbulent, basically agitated, it's turbulent, obstinate, and strong, O Krishna. And to subdue it, Nigraham, I think, manye, think, it's like eva difficult, sudushkaram, it's difficult like eva the wind, vayo. Vayu is in Hindi. So Vayu, it's more difficult than controlling the wind. It's like difficult like controlling the wind. And let's see the translation here. The mind is very restless, turbulent, strong, and obstinate. O Krishna, it appears to me that it's more difficult to control than the wind. Okay, very similar, almost exactly the same. Okay, so the mind is so strong that it overcomes the intelligence, even though the mind is supposed to be subservient. So the way it works is that we have the sense objects, for example, the donut. Then we have the senses, for example, the tongue that desperately wants that donut. Like that's where in chapter 3, he says this path, that the sense objects are the lowest, and then the senses, and then it's the mind. The mind is what is the thoughts and emotions, and that is something also that I got very clear on recently, is that these are out of our control. These thoughts and emotions that arise, they are out of our control. We can then choose to respond to them by controlling them, or by switching them, or by choosing to not have that thought. Like when we're meditating, the thought comes, that the thought will enter and we'll let it go. And even in general life, the thought, whatever we find ourselves ruminating over the same thought over and over again, it will come. It is out of our control. But then we choose to to go somewhere, to think something else, or to feel something else. But that's the mind. And the mind, the thoughts and the emotions are just become a slave to the senses. They're supposed to control the senses, but they become a slave to the senses. And they're like, if the tongue is saying, I want that donut, the mind is like, okay, let's have that donut. And then the intelligence is superior to the mind, which is also there. And that verse in chapter 3, I don't know, verse 41, 42, something like that. It says that the intelligence is supposed to control the mind. We know that donut is not good for us. That never changes. The mind gets completely sucked in. It's like, yes, I want that. That all the emotions are like, I want that so desperately. But the intelligence knows that that is not good for us at all times, but the intelligence is deluded, it's bewildered, it's deluded. We think, oh, one time won't hurt. So the intellect knows it's not good for us, but it gets deluded because of the mind. So there is an analogy in the Katha Upanishad, which is basically saying that we have like the chariot. So the individual is the passenger in the car, in the of the chariot. The horses are the senses. They are the ones running the show most of the time. The reins are the mind. The reins are supposed to control the horses, but they're not able to control the horses. And then the driver is the intellect. The driver is supposed to hold the reins, but the driver is also not out of control. And the passenger is the soul. It's the atma. And so the passenger is yeah, it's sitting there. And so the mind, the way it's also the another analogy which is very useful is that when say the elephant is the senses and the mind is the mahut, the driver, the rider of the elephant. So the way to control the rider is supposed to control the elephant, but if the elephant decides that I want to eat bananas, or if I want to do something else, if I want to go here, the rider has absolutely no control over that, right? I mean, the elephant is way stronger than the rider, the human being that's riding the elephant, the mahut. So in that way, the senses are very strong, and the only way to control the senses is to train it, slowly but surely train it, the way the elephant is trained. Okay. So yeah, so what here he's saying is that the mind is very restless, turbulent, obstinate. He's not talking about the senses here, he's talking about the mind. It's very restless, turbulent, obstinate, and strong, and to subdue it is more difficult than controlling the wind. Okay. Yeah, so in the form, so the mind is restless because it keeps going from subject to subject. It's turbulent because it creates anger, hatred, lust, greed, envy, fear, attachment, all of that kind of stuff. And it overpowers the intellect with its vigorous current and destroys the faculty of discrimination. It's also obstinate because when it catches a harmful thought, it doesn't, oh, have you seen that? It doesn't want to leave it. It doesn't want to let go. Oh my goodness, I'm like so holding on to this anger right now. I'm sure you've experienced it. I'm so holding on to this anger and so holding, I don't want to let it go. Yeah, that's the obstinate. It's like stubborn. I mean, I'm not going to let this go. I want to hold on to it. It's so powerful. It's so powerful, so difficult. My goodness. Ooh, yeah, so and it's more difficult to control than the wind. The word Krishna means he who forcefully attracts the minds of even the most powerful minded yogi. So it's Krishna means all attractive. So Arjun is indicating that Krishna, so he uses Krishna here, right? Krishna directly instead of using Madhusudana or Keshi, whatever. He's using directly Krishna, and he's saying, please attract my restless, turbulent, strong, obstinate mind. That's a very nice, sweet thing. Okay. Okay, so that's it for this verse. We will do chapter 6, verse 35 in the next video. Wish you a day filled with spiritual growth. Radhe Radhe.